Hallo liebe axinocapital Investoren-Community, heute habe ich John Kaiser bei mir und der ein oder andere von euch sollte ihn schon kennen von Kaiser Research. Er hat nämlich zum Beispiel unsere Sonoro Gold bereits unter die Lupe genommen und da haben wir schon einige Reports gezeigt und heute will ich mit John einfach mal über die gesamte Marktsituation sprechen und auch was man vielleicht in seinem Portfolio haben sollte, vielleicht auch gerade als jüngerer Mensch. John, it's good to have you here at PDAC. It's the first day at PDAC. Just before we start the interview, what's your feeling at PDAC right now? How does it feel to be back again, to meet people, to shake hands?
Oh, I'm not going to be shaking too many people's hands. There's something terrible called the PDAC flu that everybody catches, which is even worse than COVID. It's been crazy this morning trying to get in. It took hours for people to get in. I guess they lost how to get it done properly and had some logistics problems. But I'm surprised how many people are here. I expected it to be much deader, and I think that reinforces my feeling that the resource sector is ready for a boom time.
That sounds good, but before we start going to the resource sector, we should talk about the overall market. And you're a well-known analyst, even in Germany, people know you. And maybe you can give us a little bit of an update. What is your opinion on the overall market right now?
We are seeing the end of 12 years of quantitative easing to prop up the economy after the 2008 crash. This has finally led to inflation. Some of it is from all the money supply expansion, but a good part of it is through supply chain disruptions caused by the COVID situation. But they do know they have to raise the interest rates, and that's what's creating a lot of concern, because we saw this happen in 1980 when Paul Volcker cranked it to 19% and basically tanked everything, the economy, and people are now cringing for this. All these spec tech companies, anything with sort of fantastic growth of multiple growth projections built into them, Tesla for example, that's all coming undone. So we're seeing major washout in the market, and the resource companies, which lagged to a large degree this whole boom, had their own little bear market. The juniors had a 10-year bear market. They are being pulled down along with this. So it's not fun to watch this happen, but I'm actually in a good mood, because when this stabilizes, the big markets may just go flat for a long time, but the resource sector, it is going to flourish, because we need more raw material supply, both because the macroeconomy is still growing, but also because there are new usages, such from the decarbonization of the economy coming in and asking for a lot more copper and these other materials than anybody assumed would be required just through ordinary economic growth.
John Kaiser hat zunächst einen Überblick auf den Gesamtmarkt gegeben. Eine große Sorge für den Markt ist aktuell die hohe Inflationsrate und die damit verbundene Angst vor größeren Zinszahlungen, welche eben massive Auswirkungen auf viele Firmen haben würde. Die Marktsituation hat natürlich auch einen Einfluss auf unsere Junior Mining Companies, wie wir alle bereits leider am eigenen Depots sehen konnten. Dennoch ist John Kaiser grundsätzlich positiv für den Ressourcensektor gestimmt, denn solange der Bedarf an neuen Materialien nicht nachlässt, sondern sogar vielleicht weiter wächst, werden wir immer mehr Bergbauunternehmen brauchen, welche Vorkommen entdecken und Minen errichten. Wie unser axinocapital CEO Wolfgang Seibold immer sagt, es gibt kein Leben, wie wir es kennen, ohne den Bergbau. Kein iPhone, keine E-Mobilität und keine erneuerbaren Energien. Absolut gar nichts davon funktioniert ansatzweise ohne den Bergbau. Und deshalb können wir Investoren sicher sein, nach dem Tief wird es auch wieder Höhepunkte geben müssen. And you've already mentioned the word resource sector, and I mean, I'm 25 years old and I'm here at PDAC, but not many people in my age are thinking about investing into resource companies. They are thinking about crypto because it's cool and they think they might understand it, but they don't think they understand gold or resource sector. But maybe you can tell us, why should younger people think about buying a stock with a resource instead of buying a GameStop or something? Why should they do that?
So we've seen a lot of younger people come into the market in the past few years, accelerated during COVID because they had nothing else to do. Facilities like Robinhood allow people to buy like 2 shares of something like that. And this has, but they've come in trading momentum. The trend is their friend. They don't need to know much about Tesla other than they look really cool and maybe they will own one day. Or crypto, yeah, that's a cool idea. Oh, and look how it's going up. Yeah, just follow it. And even GameStop. Oh yeah, we can make it go up and squeeze the hedge fund shorts and that and have real fun. Little guy beats the big guy type of thing. Yes. But that doesn't require much knowledge. The trend just has to be a friend. The trend is no longer your friend. It's now becoming chaotic. It's actually going in reverse, so you're losing money. And when we get back into a more normal market, momentum gambling, the pros are pros because they win 50.1% of the time. The rest of us who don't do this, we lose money. And I'm not interested in watching a market all day just trying to catch the fluctuations. So that fun period is over. Resource sector juniors, it's harder. It's slow gambling. You bet on fundamental outcomes that unfold over time. You need to know how to calculate the volume of a deposit. You need to say, okay, if it grades 5 grams per ton gold, what's the rock value? You need to understand the discounted cash flow model. Even my boomer generation really doesn't care about that, which is, we used to have just these big discovery area plays and everything would go up and overshoot and we'd have lots of fun. You didn't really have to know too much. But we're in a different world now where you need to learn about how to calculate the value of a project and price it. And the models exist. I've created some of them. The infrastructure's out there to do it. And for this younger crowd, it's a gateway for them to get in here, and this is why lithium is one thing I'm particularly interested in, because it's relatively simple compared to gold, but it's brand new and it has tremendous opportunity. But yeah, you have to be willing to learn. But the beauty is you can gamble over time. You can start forming a family and still make money if you're choosing your sector and your stocks well.
John mahnt mit seiner Aussage an die jüngeren Menschen, welche sich bislang auf steigende Märkte verlassen konnten. Wie wir seit einigen Monaten sehen, ist diese Zeit leider vorbei. In der Regel gilt für erfahrene Investoren, sobald dir dein Bäcker Investment-Tipps geben möchte, ist vermutlich der beste Zeitpunkt, um auszusteigen. Das hat sich hier leider bewahrheitet. John geht darauf ein, dass sich die Zeit ändern wird und gerade jetzt Ressourcenfirmen spannend sein können. Der Unterschied zu einer GameStop-Aktie ist hier eher, dass man nicht zwingend einen Trend erwischen muss, sondern dass man solide Firmen finden sollte, welche mittelfristig das Potenzial für eine herausragende Rendite mit sich bringen. Das ist natürlich nicht ganz so einfach und deswegen suchen wir bei axinocapital bereits nach Aktien, die wir für vielversprechend halten und versuchen euch alles an die Hand zu geben, um Aktien bestmöglich zu verstehen und eine Investmententscheidung treffen zu können. Im nächsten Schritt habe ich John auf seinen Vortrag am Vortag angesprochen, welchen ich mir angesehen habe. Dort ging es inhaltlich darum, warum der Lithiumpreis fallen muss, um beispielsweise die E-Mobilität langfristig erfolgreich machen zu können. I've seen one of your pitches yesterday. You were talking about Lithium Mania. Can you tell us a little bit about Lithium Mania 1.0 or 2.0 that's maybe upcoming?
So lithium's been sort of a nothing burger of a metal for ages. It was used primarily in the glass and ceramic industry, had very minimal growth. Then it started getting growth in the 90s when laptops came along and cell phones came along and the smaller lithium ion cells were needed. And so that created 2008, 2010 window where people started thinking, and that's when we started hearing about electric vehicles, about a potential Tesla, and so on. So we had a little bit of a blip, I call it 0.5, but it started getting serious in 2015 when the Tesla started showing up on the road and the car industry started taking electric vehicles seriously, and people got to more and more understand the we do need to decarbonize the global economy, get away from gasoline and diesel if we want to slow global warming. So that created a boomlet. Lithium carbonate was 15 bucks a pound. And unfortunately, fortunately, the Australians rose to the occasion and did a tremendous job mobilizing new pegmatite-sourced lithium supply, but it was a little faster than the EV adoption happened, so it crashed to 3 bucks a pound, and that created a bit of a bust. After the Trump administration, the election in 2020, people suddenly realized that the car industry had ignored all this stuff about, yeah, it's a hoax, yeah, we're not going to enforce higher fuel efficiency standards. And the Europeans never stopped. They just said, Trump's an idiot. We understand science. We're going to keep pushing the policy, and this is going to become mandatory, not just voluntary. And that's when, in 2021, lithium woke up again. And in the latter half of last year, it went to $35 a pound, where it is now. At that price, it's too high for the EV rollout to ever happen, because the car's not going to be affordable enough if you need to put in $30 a pound lithium. But at $10 a pound, these pegmatites are in the money. So it's the brines in South America, the lithium triangle, they're going to come up, provide a big part of this new supply needed. And incidentally, Rio Tinto has indicated that by 2035, if these projections are valid, we're going to need 10 times more lithium than we are producing now. Last year was only 100,000 tons. So at $10 a pound, these deposits, these pegmatite deposits, are in the money. And that's why I'm excited, at least for the Canadian juniors. Interestingly, the Australian juniors are coming to Canada always. So Eastern Canada is a waterlogged mosquito land, and there are lots of pegmatite trends there. Never been looked at, they've been seen, but because they were worthless, because they weren't Greenbushes or Tanco, the big ones that took care of all past needs, no serious exploration has ever been done. And this is now opening up, and we're in a bit of a lull right now because the general market is cooling people's interest. Goldman Sachs comes out and says, lithium battery bubble is over. Well, whatever these Canadians and Australians are going to find in Canada, it won't hit the market until later this decade, right when we expect this to take off. And this is why I think this Lithium Mania 2.0 focused on Eastern Canada is fantastic for these juniors, because the majors aren't interested until something big is found. So it's all these medium-sized deposits where a junior can do the basic work and suddenly go from some $5 million market cap, 50, 500, and we're talking 10 to 100 bagger gains. And it's because it's lithium. The electric vehicles themselves won't stop global warming, but they will slow it down. It will make a difference for these younger generations. Betting on mobilizing lithium supply is meaningful for them, which is why I might almost call it's a gateway drug for them into the resource sector. And it's relatively simple, so they can learn this. I think it's a huge opportunity for all these younger generations to stop their addiction to momentum gambling and get into this slow fundamental outcome gambling and make 5, 10, 100 baggers.
Also wie bereits angekündigt, John Kaiser ist davon überzeugt, dass der Preis von Lithiumcarbonat ungefähr um 60% fallen muss, um beispielsweise die E-Mobilität für alle zugänglich zu machen. Erst vor kurzem musste Tesla die Preise für seine Autos etwas anziehen, was sicherlich auch auf die gestiegenen Preise für Lithium zurückzuführen ist. Somit kostet das Tesla Model 3 mit der längeren Reichweite statt wie vorher 57.000 Euro nun 59.500 Euro. So wird die breite Masse wahrscheinlich eher weniger die Möglichkeit haben, ein solches Elektroauto auf die Straße zu bringen. Der Preis muss also runtergehen, und wenn das passiert und der Preis von Lithium sich wieder auf einem verträglichen Level einpendelt, so sieht John die große Chance für kanadische, aber auch australische Junior Companies, welche Projekte mit Lithiumpigmatit besitzen. Er meint, dass die Big Player kein Interesse daran haben, ein kleines oder mittleres Deposit zu explorieren und zu entwickeln, sondern im nächsten Schritt die Juniors diese Projekte sich annehmen und anschließend eben von den Großen aufgekauft werden, wenn das Projekt ausgereift ist. Und hier sieht John Potenzial für viele Kursverzehn- oder sogar Verhundertfachungen, wenn man das richtige Timing und die richtige Firma erwischt. 100 bagger sounds good. I never had one before. And we've talked about the general market. We talked about Lithium Mania 2.0. Well, there's another topic I would like to ask you about, and it's gold. And we all like physical gold, but we all like gold stock as well, especially gold stocks with a good story. And I think you've already discovered Sonoro Gold, and you've already told people that it might be a good idea to check out Sonoro Gold. What can you tell us about Sonoro right now?
Okay, so first the gold context. I mean, gold is obviously useless, and it just sits there, but it is a hedge against uncertainty. And as this world fragments into these two trading zones, and where there's hostility, like almost like a Cold War type hostility between the democracies and the autocracies, the US dollar will cease to be the single reserve currency. And it'll still be the dominant one, but it will fragment. And gold is kind of a transitional asset that people will want to own more of as we enter this period of turbulence and uncertainty. So it's not so much gold going up because of inflation, because that doesn't help a junior like Sonoro Gold. It's the real price increase, and we have seen a substantial real price increase. At $1,300, it had basically tracked inflation from $400 in 1980 to the present. But now at $1,800, that's a 35% real gain, and the market has not really recognized it. So I think $2,000 seems to be sort of the magic market, needs to go through that. So I'm looking for companies that, like Sonoro Gold, what's interesting about it is they want to fast-track development. They don't just want to delineate this resource that sort of works at $1,800 gold, is worth a fortune at $3,000 gold, and then just sit there and wait for gold to do this. No, they know they can make it work at these numbers. They're pushing it forward, and I think within a year or two, when gold makes that breakthrough $2,000, and these guys have this ready, they'll be able to expand their 7-year mine life to the 14 years that the market wants by reinvesting the cash flow into drilling off the other zones so that they can quantify it and not just say, well, here's the mineralized footprint. And the project has potential that when they go deeper, they find higher grade future underground mine. So it's the fact that this company is a bunch of movers and shakers, people who do stuff which distinguishes it from all the other juniors. And yeah, 45,000 ounces a year doesn't really excite a lot of people, but when you look at this as a stepping stone story, it's a great way. And so if you put together a portfolio of these lithium companies, put something like Sonoro in there, because also another reason gold will go up is if our hopes to limit global warming go down the toilet and we settled into an end-timer mentality and the younger generations give up hope. Well, gold will be the thing that everybody plays with, because who needs anything? We're going into a Mad Max future, but the Mad Max future won't arrive right away, but there will be this window of gold. Gold's going to go up anyways, but if treated as a hedge against the optimistic bets that you're making in like nickel plays, lithium plays, the other things that will contribute to the greening of the economy.
So you're bullish for gold?
Oh yes, like in real price terms, not just as an inflation. It's, something that people don't understand about gold in America is that it's treated as a collectible. So when gold goes up in nominal terms, you have a capital gain that gets taxed at 35%, and then the states slap on another 10% or so. So you're losing 40 to 45% of your gain, which if gold is just tracking inflation, you're losing money owning gold. So until gold becomes non-taxable, it isn't a really good inflation hedge. It's really there to hedge against extreme changes in society, breakdown of law and order, shifting alliances, currencies getting tanked. It's a way to rebuild when things all crash together. It's the insurance policy you never want to use. It's just there just in case.
So you think everybody should need physical gold and maybe some gold stocks in their portfolio?
Yeah, physical gold is there as insurance. If you have excess capital that you don't need for your children and home and stuff, park some of it in gold. Don't worry about the day-to-day fluctuations. The resource juniors are interesting because they leverage off gold, because a modest increase, say a 20% increase in the price of gold, that's a real increase, that could have a 1,000% increase on the net present value of a gold project, because you suddenly go from marginal to in the money. So if you want to be leveraged better on gold, the resource juniors like Sonoro Gold are the way to do that.
John Kaiser ist ein erfahrener US-Analyst, welcher schon viele richtige Voraussagen in seinem Leben getroffen hat. Er sagt in Bezug auf die Sonoro Gold, dass er ein großes Potenzial sieht, dass Gold innerhalb der nächsten 2 Jahre die 2000 US-Dollar-Marke durchbricht und das auch noch der Zeitpunkt sein könnte, in dem Sonoro Gold in Produktion geht. Könnte dieses Timing übereinstimmen, wäre das sicherlich schon ein Boom für sich. Aber dazu kommt noch, dass Sonoro Gold aus Sicht von John Kaiser ein tolles Projekt hat, welches aktuell vor allem Gold nahe der Oberfläche gefunden hat, aber aufgrund der Umgebung und anderer Minen auch Potenzial für einen großen Fund unter Tage hat. Diese Vermutung wurde durch jüngste Bohrungen von Sonoro weiter angeregt und wir können weiter gespannt sein, was die Firma in Zukunft mit sich bringt. Alle Informationen zu der von John Kaiser analysierten Firma Sonoro Gold, die findet ihr auch auf axinocapital.de. Erst vor kurzem habe ich hier ein Video hochgeladen auf dem YouTube-Kanal mit dem CEO Kenneth McLeod. Schaut dort gerne vorbei und hinterlasst ein Abo auf dem Kanal, wenn ihr euch für Junior Mining Companies interessiert und auch, wie John Kaiser angekündigt hat, den Boom in den nächsten Jahren, sofern er denn kommt, miterleben wollt. Alle Informationen dazu gibt es hier und ich freue mich, wenn wir uns im nächsten Video wiedersehen.
Sounds good. Thank you very much for your time. And you said you don't want to shake hands, so I'm just gonna say thank you. And if you want to check out,
I can shake hands. I just remembered they provided us with a little bottle that I can wash my hands. The PDAC has a little.
So we can do a handshake at the end.
Yes, and then I'm going to scramble and wash and and hope you didn't give me any flu from Europe.
I hope so too.
Like
yeah.
Can we give you one from America?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. Well, just at the end, where can people find you online?
KaiserResearch.com. Follow me on Twitter at Kaiser Research. I publish a blog piece that's unrestricted that links to my Kaiser Watch episode I do each year. And the favorites, the stocks that have graduated from bottom fish, they become unrestricted, available for people who follow.
All right. Thank you very much, John. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
You're welcome, Jan.